And there's a lot out there, actually. That's kind of how, for a while, though, I guess I could say I believed in aliens more than I believe in ghosts and hauntings, in a sense.
Uh-huh.
Because there has been, even though I guess ghost experiences have been happening for years, obviously, thousands of years.
Millions.
Yeah. God, I did an actual lecture, and I forget the guy's name, but he was an archiver himself, and he even, I think this is why they validate that Jesus did die on the cross, because I believe he wrote about it, if I remember correctly. Once I get the name, I'll
Okay.
bring it up. I'll probably post it or something like that. But eventually, he was told, and this was like a Roman archiver. I forget exactly what time period, but he was told by like a general or something that, oh, my house is haunted, and I want someone to go there and archive it. And he technically was the first paranormal investigator. So what he
Yeah.
found out was he spent the night in the house, nothing was going on, and eventually, I believe it was a man or something. He saw a man and walk out to the whatever the yard was, the pot of land or whatever it was, and he went up, dug it up, and there was I believe it was a body that was there,
Uh-huh.
and that validated his story that there was an actual ghost, and that it correlated with this dead body that they found in the yard or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And this was like 1,000 years ago or something like that. But besides that, when it comes down to paranormal, or I should say, UFO experiences, we have all sorts of, history with that as well. Even me being Hispanic, a lot of Mexicans and South Americans, they love UFO stuff. Like it's in our culture for some reason. So there
Uh-huh.
has to be something in it. Besides ghost stories, I mean, I grew up on ghost stories, Mexican ghost stories and whatnot. But the UFO part is part of, even my boss, who doesn't believe in ghosts, but he believes in UFOs.
Uh-huh.
You know,
Yeah.
and I find that weird
Well,
sometimes. I'm
it's
like,
like the UFO thing. It's like someone said to it once. UFOs and aliens is a religion for the atheist.
yeah, in a sense, yeah, I can get that. Yeah.
You know, it's that kind of deal because I mean, if you go down the path that these are nuts and bolts solid craft from other planets and that we're being visited by extraterrestrials, then that kind of makes sense, right?
Hmm.
And that very well may be the case. That might be exactly what's happening. But because the most of these encounters are sometimes very very strange, like bizarre,
Yeah.
it kind of leads into maybe a paranormal aspect because there's a strong spiritual slash paranormal aspect to most UFO encounters also,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
It, it
It plays
we
into
have
that.
no physical evidence. There's even some cases where the Greys, and of course, there's different races out there that people have seen and noted on. But they literally, people say, I feel this, like, when you really go through a lot of this, now there's oh yeah, you see stuff in the sky and people
Uh-huh.
seeing something, but there's a lot of a mental aspect to it where they feel something weird going on, and then all of a sudden they see a gray alien in their bedroom,
Yeah.
and the alien, it's not talking to them, it's talking mentally to them,
Right.
and just as it was there, it was gone, you
Yeah.
know.
Abductees. They say when they have these encounters, whether it be with Greys, Nordics, whatever,
Hmm.
they don't speak, especially with Greys. They
Yeah.
don't speak. They make sounds. They like grunt or squeal. They make like audible sounds,
Hmm.
but they don't verbalize. They don't speak. But they speak in your head.
Yeah.
They'll tell you stuff. Calm down. Don't worry. Everything's fine. We'll let you go soon. Whatever. They tell you all this, and it's in your head. But audibly, you don't hear the voice. But they do. They growl. They squeak. They grunt. They make sounds that way.
Hmm.
But they never talk
Yeah.
audibly. It's all that when you hear them talking, it's in your head.
Yeah. Yeah, it's more of a mental experience,
You know.
which is why I've come to, I guess, some theories on what those are, what those exactly are. Are they just as probable of a mental experience that we put out there as a ghost is, or are they legitimately these figures or these beings that are either traveling through space, or in some aspects, I believe it's more of a dimensional thing that they know how to get between
Right.
here and there without having to use a spaceship,
Yeah.
uh, and that leads into other ideas that these extraterrestrials are demons, and they're traveling between these veils of reality that we can't, so it is out there
Hmm.
as in what exactly is going on with that, but there's enough, I guess, evidence, even though there's very limited physical evidence. That's just like
Well,
ghosts.
no,
There's something going
I
on.
would disagree with that. I think there's an enormous amount of evidence, both physical and otherwise. That's the thing is like with dealing with ghosts and the paranormal. Now, don't get me
Hmm.
wrong. There is evidence for the paranormal and ghosts. There's
Yeah.
no question. But the amount of evidence for ghosts compared to the amount of evidence for interactions with aliens and or UFOs, it's night and day.
Yeah.
The evidence for UFOs is off the fucking charts. There's
Like the implants. That's a big one.
tons and tons of physical evidence. Now, and that's where people get screwed up. There 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 is no proof, but there's lots of evidence,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah. I guess that's the best way to
and
put
the
it.
evidence all points into the direction that there's something going on.
Yeah.
There's no solid proof that we are being visited by ET or other dimensions or whatever,
Mhm.
but there's tons of evidence, tons. The ship comes down and lands in someone's backyard, then it leaves, and you find the landing gear imprints in the dirt,
Mhm.
or it lands and it sets fire to a bush and the bush is burned, or all of these things. All aliens come and they take me and they put this thing in my arm, and you look at the arm and there's a scoop mark or a scratch or a
Yeah.
scar, things like that. There's stories of people being abducted and then somebody inadvertently walking into the room where they should be and in the early hours of the morning, and like they're literally a gone.
Yeah.
There's so many things like that which points to the reality of this subject, that it really is happening, and it is. This isn't make believe, hocus pocus. Let's pretend.
Yeah.
This stuff is reality. It really, really is happening, but we don't know what it is,
Yeah. What exactly it is.
or why it's here, or what it is. But it all the evidence points to we are interacting with something that is not us.